In the late 1800s, rail workers called coupling the death lottery. Each shift, more than 11,000 men a year risked losing a limb or their lives just to link freight cars with a bare hand. Nearly 40% of all serious railroad injuries came from this single, brutal task. For those drawn to hidden histories of blood and progress, subscribe now, because the law that finally ended this carnage reshaped American safety forever. But how could such relentless danger become routine, and what finally broke its grip? A brakeman stands on uneven stone, his breath clouding in cold air. He moves with practiced care, a lantern in one hand and the other gripping a heavy iron link. Each freight car drawbar has a slot, rough edges slick with oil and rain. The link, shaped like a giant oval of chain, must be lifted into place, one end already hanging in the pocket of a stationary car. The free end droops, swinging slightly as the next car rolls closer, wheels grinding slow against the rails. Fingers curl under the iron, guiding the link upward. The gap narrows. Timing is everything. Too soon, and the link misses the slot. Too late, and the hand risks being trapped between 2 tons of steel. The brakeman's eyes flick between the moving car and the pin, a solid iron rod, cold and worn smooth by years of use. As the drawbars align, he slides the link into the second pocket, steadying it with his palm. The cars creep together, closing the space to inches. In that instant, he drops the pin through the holes, locking the link in place. Metal strikes metal with a dull ring. If the pin jams or the link slips, there is no second chance. Hands, wrists, sometimes whole arms are caught in the crush. No gloves can shield flesh from iron. The work is slow, deliberate, unforgiving. Every movement is a calculation. How far to reach, how fast to pull away, how much risk to accept. More than 11,000 men each year are killed or maimed in moments just like this, their injuries tallied in ledgers, their lives measured in fractions of a second. Missing fingers became a calling card in rail yards. In crew camps and depot towns, hands told stories that words rarely did. A brakeman might cradle a coffee mug with 3 fingers or button his jacket with a thumb and half a palm. Children learn to spot the trade by the shape of a handshake. Family portraits from the era show men with sleeves pinned up or hands kept hidden in pockets. In the Brotherhood journals, the refrain was clear. You could tell a brakeman by his hands. Union writers describe the jokes men made to steady their nerves, the rituals before stepping between cars, touching iron for luck, muttering warnings to new men. Advice circled in the pages of the railroad trainman: never trust a still car, never crowd the drawbar, keep one hand on iron and one on life. Railroad companies kept ledgers that flattened these injuries into columns and codes. A crushed finger, a lost thumb, often recorded as minor. Only deaths or full amputations above the wrist made the serious tally. Accident books from the Pennsylvania and New York Central lines list date, name, occupation. Then, in a neat hand, fingers mashed in, coupling, minor. For the men who lived with the cost, there was no comfort in the paperwork. The ledgers simply measured what the industry was willing to accept. In the world of the railroads, mutilation was routine, a part of the job, as ordinary as the morning whistle. Eli Hamilton Janney spent his evenings at a small table, lamplight flickering across scraps of wood and scattered tools. After long days as a clerk in Alexandria, he carved and tested shapes, searching for a way to spare men the agony he saw in the rail yards. Janney was not an engineer by trade, but the problem he worked to solve was simple and urgent. He asked how to connect 2 freight cars without forcing anyone to stand between them. He shaped his first models from wood, whittling and fitting pieces until they could lock together with a push. One afternoon, as he clasped his hands together, fingers curled like 2 jaws, the idea took form. a coupler that worked not with loose links and pins, but with two interlocking knuckles. When cars met, one knuckle opened and the other closed, and they snapped shut automatically, holding fast like a handshake. No hands needed to be placed between the cars. Janney filed for a patent. On April 29, 1873, the United States Patent Office granted him patent number 138,405 for his automatic coupler. The design was deceptively simple: a bifurcated drawhead at the end of each car, a rotating hook called a knuckle that swung shut as the cars touched, and a vertical locking block to hold it in place. To uncouple, a worker could pull a side lever from a safe distance, releasing the lock and swinging the knuckle open. With this mechanism, the most dangerous step, the moment between moving cars, was eliminated. Janney's invention offered a way to keep men's hands and lives out of harm's reach. The solution was mechanical, but its purpose was deeply human. Railroad boardrooms filled with the scratch of pens and the shuffle of ledger pages. Executives weighed the cost of safety in columns and decimals. Retrofitting an entire fleet with automatic couplers meant pulling thousands of cars from service, halting freight, and draining company treasuries. In the pages of Railway Age and the master car builders' proceedings, the numbers were laid bare: millions of dollars for new hardware, weeks or months of lost revenue, and no guarantee that every coupler would fit every car on every line. Interoperability was a specter that haunted every meeting. One executive warned that a car equipped with the wrong coupler could strand a shipment in a distant yard, blocking traffic and angering customers. Industry journals argued for patience, urging Congress to trust voluntary adoption and industry standards instead of sweeping mandates. Editorials cautioned that hasty regulation would disrupt the delicate balance of the national rail network. The expense of compulsory change, one trade paper insisted, would be intolerable to the carriers. Meanwhile, accident payouts, though tragic, were treated as a manageable operating cost, folded into annual budgets alongside wages and repairs. The calculus was cold. It was cheaper for now to settle claims than to overhaul the system. Union leaders and labor advocates pushed back, presenting casualty statistics and personal testimony at every opportunity. They carried the stories of maimed brakemen to the halls of Congress, insisting that lives could not be balanced against quarterly profits. But for years, the industry's resistance held firm, and the Lincoln pin remained the standard, even as the toll of injuries continued to climb. On March 2, 1893, Congress enacted the Railway Safety Appliance Act. The new law required every railroad car used in interstate commerce to be equipped with automatic couplers, devices that coupled by impact and allowed uncoupling without forcing a worker between the cars. The language was plain and uncompromising: no more Lincoln pin, no more hands sacrificed to routine. For the first time, federal authority reached into the rail yards, granting the Interstate Commerce Commission power to inspect, enforce, and fine any company that failed to comply. The statute set a clear deadline, and for railroads that had argued over cost and convenience, the debate was now over. Safety was no longer a suggestion or a patchwork of company rules. It was the law of the land, written into the record and backed by the full weight of the federal government. Federal inspectors began walking the yards, clipboards in hand, checking car after car for the new automatic couplers. In the years that followed the law's passage, the data in Interstate Commerce Commission reports told a story that could not be ignored. By 1900, coupling-related injuries and deaths had dropped by more than 60% compared to the years before the mandate. Charts from the Interstate Commerce Commission showed the steep decline: thousands fewer men maimed or killed each year, even as rail traffic continued to grow. Inspectors recorded fewer crushed hands, fewer lost limbs, fewer families left waiting for a letter that never came. The numbers traced a transformation, proof that a single change in hardware, enforced by law and measured by federal eyes, could turn the most dangerous task on the rails into something survivable. For the first time, safety was visible not just in stories, but in the record itself. Every time a freight car locks into place today, it is proof that safety is not inevitable. It is chosen. Federal mandates like the Railway Safety Appliance Act still save lives in industries that resist change. The lives we protect now are shaped by the risks we refuse to ignore. If you believe stories of hard-won safety and human-centered progress deserve to be remembered, subscribe. Thanks for watching.